Hey, it's M-Top Movie. Today, I am going to explain a film called The Dreamers Paris, 1968. Matthew, a young American, arrives in the French capital on a student exchange program. He has to spend the next year here, improving his knowledge of the French language and acquiring the cultural values of Europe. The boy has no friends or acquaintances, so he spends all his free time at the Cinematheque, which attracts film buffs and sometimes passes the French authorities. Declare the founder of the Cinematheque, a traitor who has undermined the credibility of the government. He has been dismissed from his post and all his followers are persecuted by the police. The film archive is sealed and the entrance to it is barred. People protesting against this gather at the entrance to the Cinematheque and are surrounded by police ready to disperse the assembled crowd. Matthew sees what is happening and tries to break through to the building, where he notices a girl chained to the gate. As it turns out, Isabelle has been eyeing the American for a long time and wanted to meet him a few minutes later. She introduces him to Theo, her Siamese twin brother. The meeting is interrupted by the police, who have decided to suppress the protest and chase it away. Everyone who was gathered around the cinema after getting to know the twins, Matthew felt lucky. They were the first people he had been able to talk to in France. The brother and sister proved to be not only interesting people to talk to obsessed with films, but also very kind people back at the hotel. The American student writes a letter to his mother telling her that he has made new friends in the morning. He wakes up to a phone call from Theo, inviting Matthew to dinner at the twins' house. The boy behaves politely and discreetly. When he meets his friend's parents, he realizes they have not been expecting visitors and feels awkward during dinner. Isabelle and Theo's father chats with the boy, but he is distracted by his reasoning about simple things. The American comes to the conclusion that the whole world just seems chaotic, but from God's perspective, a perfect order can be seen. As soon as his parents leave, the twins turn out the lights and chat with a new friend, offering him to stay with them overnight. Matthew is unable to sleep and looks around the house of his new acquaintances. Opening the door to the bedroom, he sees his brother and sister lying with each other without their clothes on, confused. The boy goes back to bed in the morning. His parents leave, warning him to return in a month. In the meantime, Isabelle decides to wake up her new friend by acting out a little scene in front of him, completely replicating the actions of the famous film in the bathroom. The twins are not embarrassed by each other, and it shocks the shy guy a little. In spite of this, he agrees to the friend's proposal to stay with them for a while and gets his things from them. Locked in their flat, the twins and their American friend continue to bond, becoming an inseparable trio. They argue about films, actors, and musicians, constantly trying to decide who is the best in what categories, fooling around. They repeat skits and ask an uninvolved person to guess the name of a film to test their passion for cinema. As they get closer, the trio decides to break the record and run through the entire museum faster than the famous actors. In the 30-year-old film, Holding Hands, they set a new record and miraculously escape, the guard rejoicing at their fleeting success on their return home. The twins seem to ignore Matthew and leave him out in the rain, but he soon realizes that this is just a joke. In the flat, the first conflicts begin to arise between the American and Theo. Isabelle's brother is determined and sees nothing wrong with the revolution as it helps to move forward. At the same time, the American is peaceful and loving and believes that military conflicts and armed resistance will not achieve what he wants. Left alone, Matthew changes their clothes and notices photos of Isabelle in her brother's room. He hides one of the photos in his underwear before Theo returns to the bedroom. The girl mimics another scene, but no one guesses the title of the film as punishment. The brother has to fondle himself in front of his sister and Matthew. The American student is embarrassed by this behavior and leaves home. Theo finds him in a cafe and explains that the Siamese twins are inseparable. They have no morals and such banter is. In the evening, the brother decides to act out a little skit and no one guesses the name of the movie. Now it is his turn to make a wish, and he proposes that Matthew and Isabelle make love after drinking a little and turning on the music. The girl undresses and embarrasses her American friend. The guy runs off into another room, but Theo finds him in the kitchen and immobilizes him after taking off Matthew's pants. The girl sees a picture. After lovemaking, it turns out that she was a virgin and the American is her first man. Theo quietly observes and cooks eggs. Then suddenly the police begin to disperse the gathering rally in the street. Again, soon, Isabelle and Matthew become lovers, becoming increasingly estranged from the girl's brother. During one of their conversations, the American tries to find out what the girl would do if her parents found out how close she is to her brother. Isabelle is afraid of this and is ready to go to sleep forever, in case her father and mother see them together, trying to treat the boys to something tasty. The girl cooks a couple of gourmet meals, but something goes wrong. Seeing the charred food, Theo refuses to taste his sister's culinary experiments. Matthew doesn't want to upset the girl and tries it, but it proves inedible. They have no money, so Theo goes to the bins and collects the leftover. Finding it disgusting, They only eat a banana while taking a bath. The boys argue and try to identify the best musician in French history. Soon, their dialogue touches on politics and a real conflict ensues. The dialogue stops as soon as Isabelle joins them and a smoked cigarette with banned substances takes effect. The boy is angry, not only at their behavior but also at the fact that Isabelle spends all her time with her. She has never been on a date or dated anyone, but Matthew after dinner. The couple goes to the cinema and watches a film in the back row on their way home. They see a news report and realize that the situation in the city is heating. Streets are deserted and the city is a growing mess. Back at the flat, they hear that Theo has brought a prostitute into the house and decide to stay out of their way once in Isabelle's bedroom. For the first time, the American scrutinizes the books, soft toys, and family photographs, pretending to be a statue of Venus of Milos. The girl plays with her boyfriend, but at some point, her mood changes dramatic. It's as if she doesn't recognize Matthew and starts knocking on her brother's door to let her in to see what is going on. The American goes into the kitchen and decides to leave the girl alone. Again, this closely links culture and politics. Theo suggests recalling the famous painting where thousands of people are friendly and carry books in front of them. Matthew does not share the boy's admiration for socialism robs individuality. The crowd chants the same things. Everyone carries the same books and is unable to think independently. Isabelle, who has fashioned a tent out of blankets and sheets, shuts down the. Once they are inside, they hug the girl and fall asleep in the night. The sister tries to wake up her brother and confess her feelings, but he is too drunk to hear her out in the morning. The twins' parents come home and see a real mess in the living room. They notice a makeshift tent with the trio inside leaving a note. The father and mother don't want to make a scene and leave. Isabelle wakes up and sees the message from her parents and realizes they now know everything, determined to keep her promise. She takes a hose, connects it to a gas pipe, and heads back to the boys' house to put the whole trio to sleep forever. The plan is forwarded by someone breaking the glass and they wake up running outside. Matthew and the twins join the protest. Spotting his classmates, Theo runs towards them and grabs a bottle of Molotov cocktail. An American friend tries to stop him, reminding him that violence is not the answer. Neither Theo nor Isabelle intends to listen to the boy where they have already made their choice. Realizing this, Matthew walks away. At the same time, the twins throw a Molotov cocktail at the police, and a scuffle ensues as a result of the riots and strikes. French President Charles de Gaulle resigns and huge changes await French society.